So the controlled collapse continues. We are at the end of the road for the Federal Reserve System. In 1913, the current monetary system was created on Jekyll Island by a few wealthy individuals. And conveniently, the people that opposed this system died on the Titanic. That's right. The USD back then was backed by gold. There's a good tweet that explained this quite well by Eric Voorhees. Most people think the US dollar has been around for a couple hundred years. In reality, it's been around since 1971. Before that, US dollar was a proxy term for a specific weight of gold. The fiat dollar is just a middle-aged payment instrument with high cholesterol. That's a perfect tweet and well said there. Now, in 1971, President Nixon changed the gold standard and told everyone the USD will not be backed by gold. He even said it was just temporary to, in quotes, address the country's inflation problem and to discourage foreign governments from redeeming more and more dollars for gold. But this system never changed back. Till this day, the global reserve currency, which is the USD, is not backed by anything. Now, in these days, any dollar spent by the government will sooner or later be taken out of the taxpayers' pockets. The way governments can accumulate money to spend is by three ways: raise taxes, which is an unpopular way. Another unpopular way would be cutting spending into certain sectors like military, schools, welfare, social programs. This is unpopular, so they do it the third way. This is the option they go for here. When the U.S. Treasury, which is the executive finance department in the States, wants to fund new spending, they just increase the budget deficit at the cost of increasing debt. And this third way is the go-to for the government. The U.S. government issues bonds. A bond is a promise to repay a certain amount of money with interest that accumulates over time. A bond is a security in which the issuer is in debt to the holder. These bonds are sold to financial institutions at auctions, and because of open market operations, these bonds end up being bought by the Federal Reserve. So now the U.S. Treasury must pay back the Federal Reserve with interest. Why does buying U.S. Treasury bonds benefit the Federal Reserve? Well, the Federal Reserve get their money back if the bond isn't paid in time. The interest accumulates as well. So the Federal Reserve always get their money back and some. Plus the US Treasury keeps increasing the budget deficit and it issues more bonds to pay off old bonds. This is called rollover debt. This was difficult for me to understand at first, so I tried simplifying it as much as I could, and it's still confusing, but I guess it's that way on purpose. I had to quote this from a video I watched on YouTube. It said, now this is very important, each newly created dollar causes the purchasing power of all other dollars to decrease. This is what hidden tax is. Remember what I said at the beginning, any dollar spent by the government will sooner or later be taken out of the taxpayers' pockets. When you pay more at the grocery store or for gas, this is a way you're paying it back, folks. This is the cost of the endless creation of new money. You can already see the problem here. You know damn well the system won't last forever. It will always collapse. Fiat currency, I think they studied around 775 fiat currencies and checked for the average lifespan of a fiat currency, and it was 25 years. And I don't think they found one that lasted longer than 80 years in the past, like the history of all fiat currencies. So instead of having a total anarchy situation after a real unexpected chaotic collapse happens, those in charge decided to control the collapse so they can transition their wealth into a new digital system. Also, they had the biggest wealth transfer in history by closing small businesses, and the money circulates back to the top and stays there. This is how they buy up the small businesses and houses so they can control absolutely everything. Those in charge decided to control the collapse so they can transition their wealth into a new digital system. They'll get to keep their wealth and power and keep humanity enslaved by a track and trace universal surveillance system that the majority will willingly accept.